Hi, y'all. Welcome back to America Tells All. It is your host, America. I am here with, oh my God, babe, where are you? It's Edward? Hello?
And so the lion fell in love with the lamb.
uh, y- I don't
You
remember
are
that
my
bit yet.
life now.
What
I
else?
said it would be better if we weren't friends. Not that I didn't want to be.
I know what you are.
I actually never seen the movie. I just have a list of quotes up.
Oh my
I,
God, babe, you ruined it.
I
Anyway,
saw
y'all,
Twilight 1, right?
we did see Twilight together. That is right.
Mm.
But anyway, y'all, happy Halloween. Welcome back to America Tells All. We are here for the episode 7 recap. It is Halloween. Me and Cory are very excited. And yeah, Cory's my guest for today. Let's go. Cory, how are you?
I'm doing well. You missed a big fight off camera between me and America based on the amount of lip gloss I would wear on the podcast, and
Uh,
we settled on way
Edward
too much.
Edward wears lip gloss and I think it looks perfect. I think you're really, and I'm sad that you can't really see all the glitter that I sprayed on him
Okay,
because he's just doused in like
can we
this
talk about that for
glitter
a second?
spray.
Because America's like, we need to get you glittery. I'm like, okay. So she starts spraying my entire body down, like shins to neck. Meanwhile, you don't even see the lower half of my
I
body.
literally, I said, "Can you take off your clothes and go outside? We gotta glitter you."
She's like,
And then
spread them. I'm like, no, it's not gonna come up on camera. But I mean, I think ultimately the in-person appeal is definitely there. So there you go.
it's definitely there. I can't wait to do our little bits, our TikTok bits later. That's gonna be a lot of fun, and I know you're really looking forward to it. But y'all, before we get started, make sure to go follow, like, subscribe at americatellsall.com and wherever you listen to podcasts. We also have a Facebook group that you can go join where we talk about all the Bachelor Nation gossip, and that's just called America Tells All. Password for this week, babe. Can you think of a password for this week for the Facebook group?
My walls are up.
How about like Air Tahiti?
Air
That was the
Tahiti.
airline that, yeah, Air Tahiti Nui
Seems
that
like a
they had an
sponsor, but okay.
yeah, so it was sponsored. I don't know if you noticed, but at the very beginning of the episode, they show us like Joan getting into this jet. It's an Air Tahiti Nui, and I was
Mhm.
like, this is just an ad. And then they just show us the boat, and they're like, oh, this is this boat, and I forgot what the name of it was. So the
Yeah.
ad didn't work really well. But they're like, oh, we have a big boat, we have a big plane, and it just took a lot of airtime. But it is Fantasy Suites.
Oh my
You're
god.
pretty new to The Bachelor, right? This is your third season.
I saw a bit of Jerry's, then I saw Joey Jen. So
What do
three
you
and a half.
think so far? Are you in it?
Um, I will say, I think the show is kind of like remarkably simple. Like it feels like
Mm,
a reality show from
I'll take it.
2006, and they just haven't changed the formula at all. And now they have changed it with like the Golden Bachelorette. But at least this season so far, all the guys being friends is cute. And then they do the whole thing for 9 more episodes, and I'm like, can one of them hate the other? Like, what if Charles L hated Jack or something? Like, I would have lived for that. But instead, it's just they're all buds.
Yeah, well, you know how I feel. I feel the same way. I'm like, I can only do so much of this. Like, can there be some drama, please? And they did deliver the
A little
drama this
bit, yeah.
episode. Finally, out of nowhere, we are blindsided. My boo, Pascal, what is going on? I could not believe it.
Hmm.
But Joan has no idea. She's feeling good. She's like, I have these 3 men. She's still really apprehensive about the whole thing. She has been, the last 6 episodes. Doesn't really know, who she's gonna pick. We don't really know. She has her. She's just like, oh, I feel really safe. She sits down with Nancy. I don't think you remember Nancy from. I
Of
don't
course I
remember
do.
Nancy from the Golden Bachelor. I don't know. You do
Hmm.
from the Golden Bachelor.
Yeah.
What do you think about Nancy?
Man, she had a big presence in this episode. I could not imagine it without her. Yeah, it was fine. I think it's so interesting because The Bachelor does this a lot where it brings like an alum back to talk to the person. And I just wonder how useful those chats are because every time I feel like it's the same like confessional tree. Sorry, the forest is making me lose my hands.
Yeah.
Where it always ends up being like, yeah, I have 3 great guys here, and then it goes to the guest, and they're like, yeah, I mean, she has 3 great guys here, and what's important is to follow your heart. And I think
She
Joan's
gave
gonna
us
take the
nothing. We've
advice.
had this yeah, we've had this conversation like 3 times already with different guests. She had it with Trista, the first bachelorette ever a few episodes ago, and she has this with Jesse. It's a whole lot of nothing. I'm like, let's
Mm.
get to the dates, please.
The
So our
dates were
final
something.
3 guys. Sorry, what was that, babe?
No, I was gonna say, like, as much as that scene was nothing, the dates were nuts.
You think
At least a
so?
couple of them. The guy. He's just a guy, but the other two were pretty
Guy
crazy.
is just Guy. So with Guy, she's talking about him. She's like, "Oh, he's a little bit further along than I am." And we can see that. He's like spilling his guts out to her every single date. "I love you so so much. I can envision this future together." And she's just like, edge of her seat, like, "Oh, okay, thank you. That's nice." So for their date, they go on another boat, a smaller boat. They're on a
Mm.
big boat, they go to a smaller boat. They go uh snorkeling, cute, fun date. What do you think about Guy?
I'm surprised, like, if Guy had it his way, he probably would have, like, proposed the Tahitian bonding ritual himself. Like, I think he's ready to, like,
Yeah.
totally tie the knot or whatever they call that specific knot. Um,
Yeah.
I think Guy would be a perfect match for Joan if Joan liked Guy at all.
Yeah, exactly. I don't feel it either. She is not
Yeah.
into him. When he speaks to her, she's just like blank, like not processing anything. She's probably thinking about her next date. It's just like literally no thoughts, just vibes.
I can't tell if that's a Guy thing or a Joan thing because I do think Joan, more than any other Bachelorette I've seen, seems very cognizant of the cameras and always speaks from like that third person removed perspective of like, yeah, I totally can see us together and that does mean a lot to me, Guy. Where it always feels like I'm watching a recorded conversation instead of, wait, the camera's just peering in to see what these two are chatting
Well,
about.
they're not like they're not like super experienced with reality TV. It must be tough. I think it was a little easier for us in the house because there's no cameras, right? And even in the diary room, we're not seeing anybody when they're asking questions. I don't know. It's got to be a
I,
little different when you're like on a date. Can you imagine like us in the corner of the scramble room and there's like 2 cameras, like and like
mhm.
6 guys just like not guy, but like 6 dudes, just like around us, recording. It's a little weird. That's awkward. I get it.
Well, it would be like you and I would be cuddling in the scramble bed, so it's like the corner of the room, and then there's that window that's like completely tinted, but if the light hits the thing in the right way, you could see the camera person. And literally like 2.5 feet away from us is just a guy with a big ass camera, and it kills the conversation every time. So I could like certainly empathize, but all I'm saying is like I don't know if it's a testament to Joan and Guy's lack of chemistry or if it's just Joan's like, maybe not
I
being
don't
super comfortable on camera.
she I think it could be both, but she doesn't like him. I don't believe it. I'm not buying it. He is like the safe choice for her. He's an ER doctor. He's talking about how, they're on the boat and he's like, we're in the same place. And it sounded like he was trying to convince her
Mhm.
to pick him. It was really strange. And I think we see this on her next date with Chalk as well, where he's like trying so hard to like, see, we fit perfectly together. We have the same life. I'm going to retire soon. I want to travel. Oh, we're becoming grandparents at the same time, too. Like, we are meant to be.
Yeah.
And she's just not, receptive to it at all. When they're, about to do a toast, he's like, cheers to a long-term relationship or commitment. So it's clear that they've talked about their expectations from this. Joan has been very vocal about not wanting to get engaged,
Yeah.
not looking for a proposal. She's looking for, a companion. And Guy is there reminding her, like, I'm that person. I'm that guy. Guy
Yeah.
is that guy.
I feel like Guy, and this sounds a lot meaner than it actually is. It's not like his intention, but he's like, for any bachelorette who's super insecure, Guy is perfect. Because like, I feel like so often what we hear in these final rounds is like, I'm just so worried that I won't be picked. And Guy's like, no, I'll pick you. I promise I'll pick you. I don't know if you'll be happy with me, but I will pick you. And I think it's very interesting because Joan did say she doesn't want to get engaged. And I think it was Guy. I'm not sure if it was Guy or Chalk who was like, I'm hoping this ends with an engagement. And it's like, okay, well, someone has to ask, and then the other person has to say yes. Unless something
Mm-hmm.
monumental has shifted with Joan, which honestly, it feels like it shifted the other way. I think everyone's going to be disappointed.
I think so. This is them on the date. She, yeah, she could not care less.
She's the queen of, aw, that's so nice. I
Aw,
feel the same
that
way.
is so cool. You popped the cork. I like like
Whoa.
that's fun. Whoa. Big strong man. But yeah, so this is their little date. And then they do their dinner date afterwards.
Yeah.
They go back. They're still
Whoa.
on the boat.
They made out in the ocean. Did you forget this? They had the crazy montage of Chalk back there being like, "Oh, it's just hard thinking how she might be
Yes,
forming more
yes, they made
connections,"
out in
and
the
they're like,
ocean.
"Oh my god, like dry humping on the tides." It was crazy. She's like, "Nothing's happening during the fantasy suites." But
But it
maritime law, who knows what can
yeah.
happen in deep open ocean? Like it was crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just
Poor
imagining
Chalk.
the
He's talking to Jesse like I don't know. Does she like the other guys more than me? I can't believe this.
I'm just imagining like a ring of jet skis around them with cameras as they're like making out. It's just like,
Not even. There's no jet skis. It's just some guy in the water,
oh,
like
like treading
holding up the
water. That's
camera,
why it's like
treading
bobbing.
water. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it
uh,
was good.
some water resistant cameras,
I
I'm
guess.
sure. But yeah, you're right. So what do you think? Do they have chemistry? They're humping in the ocean. Do you like it? Are
Did
you
I
into it?
like it? Am I into it? I am. This is maybe me being a bit of a Debbie Downer. I think making out intimacy in water is just impractical, and I think when it comes to Joan and Guy just kissy kissy, that's fine. I think it's great. It's romantic. It's whatever. But I know how the open ocean is. That shit was wavy as hell. Water's going up their nose. I cannot imagine it was as
I
romantic as Chalk was like having nightmares about. Like I think it was probably for the shot.
For the shot, you think?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't know. Whenever they kiss, it's not like I'm not seeing any sparks fly. It's okay. I completely forgot, I'll be honest, about that. The ocean kiss. Um,
I
I
had to
didn't
play it
really
slow mo.
it didn't do anything for me. But the okay, so they made out in the ocean. They
Yep.
go back. They're having their little dinner date, and Joan wants to set the record straight. And we've talked about this before, but
Yes.
yeah, she confirms she does not want to get intimate with any of the guys. She's willing to do an overnight date, but that's it.
Yeah.
Nothing is happening.
What she really meant is she
Thoughts?
doesn't want to be intimate with any of the guy. Because we'll get to Chalk, and I don't know what would have
We'll get
happened
to
with
Chog.
Pascal, but I feel like she was very steadfast on not breaking that rule with Guy.
Yeah. So no head.
No, I look. I'll tell you what. That also does not work in the ocean.
What? Babe. Babe. I don't even want to
Real.
know how you know. But anyways, they
Yeah.
do their overnight. He agrees. And, he says they had a
Oh,
wonderful night.
it
They
was
were
so
able to get
embarrassing.
closer. What do
It
you
was so
mean it was
embarrassing.
embarrassing?
She was like, I just don't feel comfortable getting intimate tonight. He goes, oh, that's exactly what I was gonna say too. Yeah, no, I feel the same. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I can't imagine you being any more perfect. Fuck. Like it was so clear. But he played it off well, and then in the morning he's like, "This is exactly what I wanted." So maybe he's happy with it.
Yeah, no, he seemed very happy with it. And Joan, again, she's talking to the camera. I think she's trying to convince herself, but she's like, I got closer with Guy. Like, I feel like now we're at the same level. Now we are, going to make it. And I'm like, what did y'all talk about?
She's basically like he caught up to the pack. Like he
Yeah.
was a distant third. Now I have something to think about. It's like okay,
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, come on. Guy's
he's
just
hot
Guy.
though.
You think he's hot?
I think he's the hottest guy.
He's got a restraining order against him from do you think he's hot now? How
Uh,
hot do you think that is? A restraining
uh,
order. So
is
I
this
looked
going to be
into it.
another Jen and Devin situation?
I hope not. I hope she doesn't pick Guy. So we haven't really talked about this babe at all because I just looked into it. Everyone's been like, "Oh my god, Guy has a restraining order." Um, I looked into it. It's from The Sun. I don't know how reliable they are, but yeah, apparently his ex-wife or ex-girlfriend,
Yeah.
you know, got a restraining order against him. And then they try to cover it up during the show, and that got denied. So it's out there and you can go look into it. I saw a bunch of posts on Reddit about it. But yeah, yet again, another guy with a restraining order. The second guy this season. That's
That's why
insane.
I think Pascal is the hottest guy remaining.
Well, I think so too.
Mm.
But for now, we're not at Pascal yet. We are at Chalk.
Oh my god, he was whipping that thing around. It was
He
crazy.
was going fast. I was like, oh my God. And Joan the entire time was like, I feel so safe with him. And I was like, no, Joan, be careful. Like this is not, I don't know what type of waiver they signed, but yeah, he
Not
he
good.
was fast. He's driving fast and he was all over her again, like pouring his heart out like he does. And it's
Mhm.
funny because like, I don't know. I think he tries to play it off as like, oh, I'm still very guarded. And it's like, no, he's not. Where? When?
Yeah, he like had a family tragedy and then came back to like guarded is Pascal. Guarded is early season Mark. Chalk is in love. And I think what was the verbiage he used? Was he falling in love? Was he just falling for Joan? Where was he at?
Falling in love.
Falling
I think
in
he's falling
love.
in love.
That's pretty
Yeah.
close to the end. So I feel like he's all in. He feels like the winner, right?
Feels like it because Joan, even like when they're meeting each other for the first time, she's like, oh my God, I realized when I saw him, I realized how much I miss Chalk. She didn't say that about any of the other guys. Um,
Or there's other stuff she said about Chalk that she also didn't say about the other guys.
like what?
Like Chalk. I just don't feel comfortable doing anything intimate in the fantasy suite. And then
Yeah, so
Chalk is
let's
like,
talk about
yeah,
that.
let's do it.
Yeah. So yeah, they do their little like ATV ride. Then they have like a little cute picnic,
Yeah, it was
and
cute.
then they do the date. That's all for show. I saw they didn't touch their food at all. I'm like, babe, they left their
Mm,
rice and shrimp there. Are you kidding me?
yeah.
And she goes over the same thing, the same speech that she did with Guy. Not going to be intimate, but do you want to do an overnight date? And Chalk's like, yeah, sure. Next morning, this is why Chalk's our villain, babe. I don't know if you know this, but Chalk is the villain
Villain.
of the season. Yeah, LOL. It's
Hmm.
it's a harsh word, but we haven't had much happen this season. So he is the designated villain. But what does he say, babe? What did you
Well,
think about that?
you know,
Their
he's
overnight.
he's talking about how it was a big, comfortable couch that they
Yeah.
had, and that he does the thing that a lot of guys do, which I would never, where it's like, I'm not one to kiss and tell, but oh boy, did stuff go down? For example, but again, it's not for me to share. You could ask Joan, but I got in there, like like really, like he wants to be very classy, but he also wants to make sure people know that stuff went down, and I believe him.
It was so weird. It was so weird because it,
Yeah,
it was like, why would you do this? Like, why would he go on and like? Obviously, Joan said they weren't going to do anything. She doesn't want anybody to know, and he's like, big smile on his face. He's licking his lips. He's like rubbing his hands together, and he's like, I
clean
can't
up
kiss and
aisle
tell.
three.
Like he's,
Like it was
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. It was so weird, and it was so I don't know, yucky. I didn't like it. And I don't know. That's why I don't like Guy. But they're gushing over each other the entire date. Just like
Hmm.
the entire time, Joan is like, oh, he's great. He makes me feel safe. He's so fun, blah, blah, blah. And Chalk is a very, like, clearly a words of affirmations guy. So is Guy, TBH. What do you think? Words
Is
of
that just
physical touch.
product of the Bachelor though? Bachelorette like format where like you kind of have to shower the person with like a ton of compliments.
It's so much, though. It's
Yeah.
insane. What's your love language?
My love language, physical touch for sure.
I think so
Absolutely.
too. I think
No,
so too.
I think I have every love language except for like gift receiving.
Okay. That
Yeah.
makes
Never get me anything.
you don't care for
It's
gifts. You didn't like
emasculating.
You didn't like the cardboard cutout John Locke that I gave you?
Okay. There are exceptions to my rule because the John Locke gift also satisfies the the touch love language. So I mean again, it's kind of hard to decipher which is which, but what about you?
I think I'm like I said, I like what's the actions one?
Acts
I
of
forget.
service.
Acts of service. Hello. I think acts of service. I think I'll
I
do that.
think you're acts of service and gift receiving.
Yes.
You love
Yeah.
receiving gifts.
I
That's
love receiving
you
gifts.
hate to be perceived, but you love to receive. I feel like that's the
And y'all, okay, y'all, like it doesn't, okay, I'm not like materialistic, like, oh, I want a necklace
Mhm.
and a ring and all this stuff. It's like if he goes to the store and he'll get me like a chocolate. I'm like, oh, you were thinking of me. Like that's cute. I love that. Um,
You should have seen her yell at me last time I came back from Whole Foods with dumplings. She's like, "Babe, I don't
I,
want dumplings."
I didn't
I'm like,
yell at you. I told
sorry, I
you to
saw them and I
stop
thought of you.
the most of the stuff that you've brought back of the pre-made like a Whole Foods food
Mhm.
sucks. It's so bad. Do not get the buffalo chicken salad, y'all. It is disgusting. I was burping it for days. It was just so gross. And after that, I was like, babe, like I appreciate it. Don't get me any of the pre-made food ever again. And the
This
next
is a
day
trap.
he brings me dumplings, like these shrimp dumplings that looked like raw. And I was like, not for me. But how
Yeah,
were they? You ate them.
they were gross. Well, they were
Yeah.
fine. Honestly, I think like it's not my fault that I was in Whole Foods and I thought of you. Sorry.
I
Lock me up.
appreciate the thought. I appreciate the thought. You know I do.
Okay, good. You're welcome.
And yeah, Joan appreciates Chalk as well. She seems
Yeah,
like he's like the front runner for me. And I'm like, oh, he's just so into her. And after they had that Disney date, remember? I was like,
yeah.
oh, they're meant for each other. It was just like they're kind of like the same person. They're on the same level.
So, okay, you think it's gonna be chalk? Do you think this ends with a chalk engagement? Does this end with chalk moving, or is this gonna be one of those things where like, oh, we're together, figuring it out?
Chalk is ready.
You
He's
think he's
ready
moving?
for the engagement. He's ready for the proposal. He's ready to move wherever Joan wants to live, which I think is great for Joan because she said she doesn't want to move out of Maryland, you know?
Does this
So
end in a Clay? Okay, this is a deep cut. A Clay AD from Love Is Blind way, or not Clay AD? Is this no? Because they broke up at the altar. Who's the couple where they proposed and they said no? Oh, it was Izzy and Stacy. Izzy proposes. Stacy says no, but let's still hang out and be together. Like, is that how this ends up?
it could be. It's happened before where they decide just to be in a relationship and
But does
it
Chalk
works
have to
out just fine.
propose? Or can he be like,
No.
okay, she's gonna say no. I could just say, hey, do you want to hang out after this? Do you want to be my GF?
Look, I'm going to be honest. I don't know what the contracts are with Neil Lane. Um,
Oh, the jeweler.
the the jeweler, but so they might have to pick out a ring and might have to propose, and
Hmm.
then Joan would maybe turn it down.
What about a
This season
necklace?
is this season is not ending in an engagement. I'm still not fully convinced that she likes any of these guys.
Yeah.
I just don't see it. I think she likes Chalk the most out of the three, but I don't think it's real like love, sparks fly stuff, fairy tale stuff, which
I
is
do
she's not
think
looking for that. So,
I think of all of the formats, Bachelor, Bachelorette, Golden Bachelor, like Golden Bachelorette, I think is the most flawed format because there's very little drama between the guys. I don't think there ever really will be because they're all like 60-year-old dudes. Like
yeah.
they all just going to talk about like taxes and sports. Like what are they going to beef about? And then
Yeah.
like Joan specifically because she was a weird pick. She didn't make it very far in her last season. She's almost like, I found Joey to be a boring bachelor because he was so good at it. He was so nice and considerate and would always, like, make sure to do what's best. Joan is just so beyond mature and so not messy and so, like, forward with her feelings of, like, I don't wanna get engaged. I wanna move. I don't know if I'm ready. Like, it's almost like the perfect storm of, like, a mess season.
Exactly. It's kind of boring. We need a messy so who would be your pick for Golden Bachelor?
Golden
Who's messy
Bachelor.
enough?
I think
Yeah.
Mark is hella boring. Mark's
Yep.
boring. I
And he's
think
taken. He's
the
dating a One Tree Hill star, Deb
mm,
something. Yeah.
okay. I
Or
mean,
she
I
played Deb.
think who's the guy who was related to a celebrity?
Gary.
I thought Gary would be funny.
Gary would be a
Um,
lot of fun.
Jonathan feels like the obvious choice at this point. He even has
Yeah.
like his own little segment at the Men Tell All we saw. But I think Gary and Jack would be my 2 top picks.
I I think Gary is a good one. I think Gary, and I would love to see a Charles L season.
There's no
I love
way.
him.
Me
And
too.
he's so funny. Like he's a character and he does good confessionals, witty confessionals. We saw him be like, I'm 10 years older than these guys, but you wouldn't know. Like I'm, more
Mhm.
flexible than any of them. Like he's throwing shade. He
Yeah.
knows how to like be funny, and he had a lot of his own segments this show. So I would love to watch him, to see him.
I do feel like Charles L is gonna get the treatment of that guy from the Jen's Men Tell All, the bigger dude who it was all the Twitter comments talking about how hot he is. Like I feel like he's gonna be in that kind of vein.
It's like very like patronizing a little
Very
bit, or like
patronizing and like hyping him up on the show, but we wouldn't cast you for anything meaningful.
they should. And
I hope so.
Brett should be on Paradise. I He should be on Paradise. He should be on his own season. It's just like so weird how they like, oh, this is our first like, plus sized
Yeah.
bachelor contestant. And he was gone night one, I think, right? We didn't get an
Yes.
intro, we didn't get anything. They brought him back to the Men Tell All, hyping him up, and then again, like he didn't get the Paradise call, as far as we know.
No.
So yeah, that's kind of lame of them.
Yeah. Anyways,
But
did I don't know if you talk about this on this podcast, but are you also talking about Bachelor Nation news in terms of Dancing with the Stars news? Is that the end of the podcast?
I It's usually at the end of the podcast, but I haven't been talking about it recently because I haven't been watching TBH. I'll watch every now and then and I'll see clips on Twitter, but
Yeah.
would you have thoughts?
Yeah. Jen can't catch a break. This is rough to watch. I don't want
Yeah,
her on another show because I don't think it'll end well.
she's fine. Dancing with the Stars is not The Bachelorette, thankfully. And
Mhm.
like, yeah, she got eliminated, but ultimately she's going to be okay. I
Okay.
think
I hope
it
so.
was fine. And I think other people should have been eliminated, but I
I
mean,
agree.
I think they split the votes. There's never been 2 Bachelor contestants, I heard, on one season of
Interesting.
Dancing with the Stars, so that's tough. I think she was the first Bachelorette to not make it to finale. Anytime there's a Bachelorette contestant, they make it all the way through, which makes sense with the voting. It is an ABC show, and usually they'll get them right, like, fresh off their season,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I don't know how the math works, the percentages, but
Do you think there's any
it's gonna be
chance we
okay.
get a Mark Dancing with the Stars?
Maybe. There could be.
I feel like
But they
that could be
usually,
the move.
if he's the lead, I would love to see a Golden Bachelor dance. Golden Bachelorette dance. I
Yeah.
think that would be a lot of fun. They should do it next season. I'm not even sure how many seasons they do of Dancing with the Stars per year. Is it 1 or 2?
I have no idea.
Hmm. Well, we'll find out.
Anyways.
But for now, we're gonna go back to Pascal State, third. I was like, oh my
Oh
god, they
my
saved the
god.
best for last. I was like, yes, Pascal girlies, rise! Like, let's go. We got this. After
Mm-mm.
seeing her date with Guy, I was like, Pascal and Chalk have this. They're our final two. And we see Jesse and Pascal talking, and he's talking about how the new information that we've never heard before. We've been watching the show for 7 episodes, and not once did we hear about Pascal's dating history and how he was almost engaged last November. They're
Yeah.
shooting the show in June. That means that this breakup happened in November. He's got 5 months maybe to get over this other woman. In those 5 months, he's probably going through the audition process for the show. He's not over her. And he's like, oh, it was on and off. We broke up, would get back together, would break up again, got back together. They dated for 2 years like this, almost got engaged. And then finally he called it quits. But this is the first time that we're hearing this information. And I'm just like, oh, Pascal, why are you on the show? You're just like every other guy that gets on The Bachelorette, where they're like not ready to talk about their feelings, not moved on from a past relationship. And it's just so annoying. Like, I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you.
I always had my guard up with Pascal. He has way
You
too
did.
successful of a business in Chicago. You're telling me he's relocating? No way.
He was never going to move. Let's be honest.
Never.
Yeah. And he confessed it to Joan. When they went on their date, he's like, I didn't think I was going to make it that far. After the first night, I was like, okay, like, I'll get my screen time and dip. But they go on their date. We had ATV riding with Chalk. They did a snorkeling boat session with
Fun stuff.
Guy. Fun stuff. Pascal gets the native Tahitian like bonding ceremony, and they get to try out a bunch of different food. And I thought this segment was kind of funny,
They were
because
setting
they
him
speak
up.
French. They speak French on the island
Oh,
though, and he's speaking French, and I was like, he's like excited about that, being able to talk, French on a date, and like being able to translate for Joan. That's super fun. I was like, oh my god, like if I were Joan, I'd be like swooning, like, oh my god, a man that can speak multiple languages. It's like you when you speak Hebrew to me. What did I ask you for the other day?
in Hebrew? Oh, my Torah part? Oh,
Yeah.
a prayer. Prayer over the wine.
Yeah. I was like, oh, what prayer do you do during Hanukkah? And you started like
Would
reciting
that
all
be if
this,
I was like, Baruch
everything to
atah
your
Adonai,
mother.
Eloheinu melech haolam, cock? Like, that's what Pascal did on this date. It was hilarious. I don't know
It
how
was
it
so
came
funny.
up. What is this, rooster? He goes,
Yeah. He's
no,
like, a
it's
rooster or
cock.
chicken?
And she like
Yeah.
spits it out.
He's like, this is cock. I thought that was so funny. And that's why Pascal is my favorite. He's just so
Yeah.
lively and just a big presence and a big character. But the entire time, he's in his confessionals being like, this date sucks. I didn't want
Yeah.
this.
I don't blame him. Like, I'm sorry, he was the one with commitment issues. And then instead of snorkeling or ATV, they're having a bonding ritual where they bond, I think it was with the water and the air, which is
And the
like
earth and the sky. And
the earth
yeah,
and the sky. I literally feel like if I was married to someone for 25 years and then they took me and did the ceremony, I would get cold feet.
okay,
I'd
so
be like,
I'm
oh my God,
canceling. I'm
our
canceling
trip
our
to Tahiti.
reservation. Yeah, our trip to Tahiti right now.
No, but
But
it was just like, why they give this to I mean, I know why they gave it to Pascal. This is exactly why. But like, I
they're like, "Oh, you
totally
got
get his
commitment
reaction.
issues. You're not ready. Let's throw him on this date." Exactly.
Yeah,
I didn't think it was that serious. I thought he was overreacting a little bit. Like, he was still making this fun, and you can still have conversation, but he's just got this fear of commitment, and he called himself damaged goods, which I'm like, oh, that's so cliche. Pascal, please shut up. He no, because it was just like, why are you on the show? Why are you here?
well, his daughters applied for him.
His daughters applied, and I guess, publicity for his business. It worked. I looked it up, and I know
Yeah,
exactly where it is, but
I think
it's
most
just
of
sort of
what
frustrating.
I think like the guys who are here for the wrong reasons. I don't think it's to become influencers. I don't even think it's to plug their business. I think it's just because like being on TV is a really exciting idea, especially like I think nowadays when people like younger people want to go on TV, it's to build their brand, to do whatever. I think just the idea of like, oh my god, my kids can watch me on the show is a super exciting thing, and I don't think
Yeah.
Pascal expected to get this far.
Yeah.
But he's just so naturally like likable and charming that put him on any season, put him on The Bachelor or The Bachelorette rather, he probably still makes it towards the end. Like,
He do well.
yeah,
I was talking with QT last week about Pascal on Big Brother and how
okay.
we think he would do well. He wouldn't do well on Slop. He wouldn't do well as a have not, but I think he would do well.
I think he'd be Kevin Schluber. I think he'd be like argumentative, also a little bit aloof to what's going on in the game, but very likable. Everyone would be rooting for him. I do think he might be a little bit Tucker though, a little bit of a diva. Just in terms of like, I don't think he's meant to be locked up in a house 24/7.
He's not. He does not like that. He doesn't like being in the bachelor mansion and having to share a room with like 3 other guys, much less 15 other people.
Oh,
But I really liked Pascal and I enjoyed watching him, and it sucks. They're going on their dinner date and the dramatic music starts. And I'm like, no, I know what's coming. And he sits Joan down and he's like, I know what love is. And basically, like, this isn't it. I really care for you as a friend, but the sparks just aren't there. I'm having a hard time getting there. I'm not going to be where you want me to be. And I was totally blindsided, shocked. I
Mhm.
was like, "Are you kidding me?" I really did not see this coming before this episode.
Yeah, I mean, it's just brutal because you could so clearly tell he was gonna get second. Like, he was going to make the finale. And, like, literally,
He
she's
could have
lining up
he
these
could have
3
been the Golden
guys.
Bachelor. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she's lining up these 3 guys, and she's like, "Chalk, I feel so safe around him. I know he'll never do anything to hurt me. Pascal reminds me of my husband.
Yep.
And then Guy, it's comforting how much he likes me."
Yeah.
And that is literally, like, the 3 people, and now we're ending with Chalk and Guy, and it's like, alright, well, first of all, I don't need a men tell all. What do the men have to tell? There's no way there was
Well,
sufficient drama behind the scenes.
I said this. I said next week's episode better not be an hour and a half. Literally, what are they going to do? We're going to get like 10 more ads for the Tahiti boat and the Tahiti airplane and what else did they do? Quaker
I know what we'll
Oats?
have. We'll have, like, they'll do, like, the big trailer for Mom Talk Texas.
Yeah.
They'll have all of them in the
Uh-oh.
audience. Hakeem's gonna be there again.
Yeah,
It's gonna be great.
reacting.
They're gonna
Yeah.
It's gonna be like a masterclass in filling airtime. There's gonna be so many bloopers, so many random segments. I mean, Charles L apparently is getting a date. Did you see that?
I hope so. I really hope
Yeah.
so. He's
We just
got a
got
new look
word.
too.
Does he? What is he wearing?
He's got new hair.
Oh, like hair
He's got,
plugs or just
yeah,
like a wig?
jet black hair. And I was like, "Ooh,
Wow.
Charles L."
And I have good news. We just got word from production. 90-minute
Uh,
episode next week.
Yay.
Woohoo! I mean, I think they're gonna
If
make a meal out of the Mark and Joey stuff, I guess.
Oh, that's right.
That'll
Joey's
be cute.
showing up. Kelsey will probably be there too. I
Yeah.
guess we're doing individual segments. They had Jonathan on stage. They're going to go one by one. There was really nothing to talk about. What can they tell all about? They're going to talk
Oh.
about the the burping and the farting and being naked in the house for 90 minutes. So
Yeah, I will say
that
if Pascal was
that
on
should
Big
be fun.
Brother, he would be in his underwear 24/7, just walking around the living room.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
It'd
That's
be good.
okay. Yeah,
I'm
I
here
think
for
that'd
it.
be good. I wouldn't mind. I do want to say though, so Joan is now he broke up with Joan, just to be clear. He breaks up
Yes.
with Joan. He leaves. Joan is there and she's like, now I'm afraid. Now I'm really scared. And I'm like, Joan, you've been scared. Now this is like the excuse that she needs to be like, I'm unlovable. And it's like, no.
She's
That's
sitting there
not
with
that
the 2 biggest layups in Bachelor history, by the way. There's no, like, idea
exactly.
that Chalk or Guy will say no. Like, come on.
None at all. They're just like pouring everything. Pascal was holding back. He was a little guarded. But now she's like, oh, now I'm scared that the other guys are going to say no, that they're going to reject me. I don't know what to do. Um, Chalk and Guy, final two. Who would have thought?
Well, America, can I ask you a question? Can you give a grade to Joan in terms of how she's done whittling down the men? Because obviously it's out of her hands that Pascal leaves, right? Like, I feel like we're like, Jen, really, this whole season, and you end up with these two. I feel like Joey
It's
did
the
a better
cast.
job.
Yeah,
So
well,
do you
it
think
wasn't Jen's fault, I don't think. It was just like, I don't think anybody
justice for
really,
Jonathan for
yeah,
the
was
dude who got fourth, who was kind of funny, who no one remembers?
Jonathan?
Jeremy.
People remember Jonathan. Oh,
Jeremy.
Jeremy. Jeremy
Yeah.
was third, I think. Made it further. Maybe
No,
not?
Jonathan was third.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but grade, I think she did the best that she could. I think she got rid of people when she wasn't feeling anything. Jack was a big presence that first week, that first
Yeah.
episode, and she cut him the second episode. Like she wasn't, bullshitting around. Like she was standing on business, and I think she did a great job. The problem is she doesn't like any of the guys, and she doesn't want to get engaged. So I think this is the wrong show for her.
I think it's all like, I don't even think it's a problem with casting. I think it's just at this age, you meet this many people and you have such little time with each one. How are you supposed to fall in love with any of them? And I think for
Mhm.
her, it's just who do I feel more comfortable with? And like based on what you said about Guy, maybe it's not that easy to be super comfortable around Guy. Whereas Chalk is just he's such a fine dude. He's fine. He's nice. He's sweet. And I think that's enough
What
for
yeah,
Chalk
like,
Pickens.
what else can we say? Like, "Oh, they're nice. They're, they're
Well, I
sweet."
think the big slips, I think this season was Jonathan. I think Jonathan should have made it deeper. If Joan didn't feel the connection, I get that, but I don't see it. I didn't see the problem with
I
Jonathan.
thought Jonathan was great. Yeah, I mean, I don't see it either. Like, what do you mean Guy made it through and Jonathan didn't? I thought her
Or
and Jonathan
who's the
had a
guy who
better
got fourth?
connection. Jordan.
Who's Jordan?
He's a guy
I
from
don't know who Jordan is.
Chicago. He was like the
Oh,
shy guy from Chicago,
yeah.
and he's actually there's speculation, rumors out there that he's dating Leslie, the runner-up from last season.
Huh.
They were
Okay.
getting cozy, which is cool. Like, Bachelor Nation is this whole universe, and they all see each other at events. They all talk to each other, sort of
Ooh.
like Big Brother, right, babe? Like, we are just one big family.
I think that's fair, and there's no exceptions. I just found I'm doing some investigative reporting. This just in:
Yeah.
Pascal has followed Maria on Instagram. What do you think that could mean?
Oh,
Oh,
I
it's interesting,
mean,
right?
I see it. Do you see it?
I see something. Here you
He
want to hear
still
my?
he still hasn't followed me. I'm pissed.
Can I give you my casting suggestion?
Of course.
Pascal for Traitors.
Pascal
That's a
for
slam
traders.
dunk.
Oh, that would be so good.
The fancy like attire in the castle with the French accent. Are you kidding me?
Perfect for him. He would not do any of the challenges,
Yeah.
none of the eliminations, but I think he would be great. I see it.
Mhm.
What I also saw with Pascal, and now I'm questioning everything. What is this? How
It's
dare
weird.
he? How dare
Yeah.
he? So for Halloween, y'all, he dressed up. He posted on his Instagram him dressed up as Joan. He's wearing this gold dress, blonde wig, gold rose. And I was like, oh, he's such a silly, funny, goofy guy. She definitely picks him because there's no way you're dressing up as your ex for Halloween. It's a little weird. But now knowing that he breaks up with her, so not only is he dressing up with his ex, but the woman whose heart he broke. Oh my God, babe. If you ever broke up with me and then you
And he
dressed up as
dressed up
me
as
for
you.
Halloween, I'd be like, oh my God, like he's a psycho. Like what is going on?
And his like ex of 2 years is the one taking the picture.
Yeah.
You know it. So like I don't like anything about this. If I'm Joan, I'd be pissed. But I will say, like, based on Pascal's actions, it did seem like Pascal really did like Joan. Like I liked him like yelling at the cameraman. Like, get out of here. What are you doing?
He
Like he
cared
did
about
feel
her. He
bad.
didn't want to hurt her, but it's like he made it so far. Like when you're making it week by week, like roast ceremony by ceremony, there's no part of you that's like, uh-oh. I guess
No.
he did it at the final 3. That's better than doing it at the final 2. But
Well,
I think he should have bowed out like much earlier.
my biggest problem with this whole picture is not even like the costume or the rose or anything. It's him having a song on his Instagram post.
Do you not know the
I
song?
hate No, I like Phil Collins, but I hate when I'm
Well,
just scrolling through Instagram and then someone has a song attached to their post.
stop it. Stop it. Stop doing that. We don't like it's not my space. I don't need to listen to your music at all. I hate it too because usually I'll have headphones in or something and it'll just like startle me. It'll come out of nowhere. It's so loud and it doesn't add anything to the post. But it does in this case, right? So, Take Me Home is the song that they used for the trailer for the
Okay.
Golden Bachelorette. So it was like the theme song of the season. So in case there was any confusion of who he's dressing up as, it's Joan.
Yeah,
That's
I
what he
mean,
gets
I
at.
don't know Cindy Lauper, like who else could he be dressed up as? Like um
Yeah.
I like the fit though. I think he's rocking it. How high are those heels, you think?
Like 2 inches maybe. They're
Okay.
small, but
So it's not super impressive, but he's rocking them.
he's a
Can't have the
he's a
strongest
fun
knees.
guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a fun guy and I don't know if we'll ever see him again, maybe on Maria's Instagram, maybe if they go Instagram official
At the club.
soon, sometime at the club in New
Well,
York, perhaps.
I'm very glad. Never mind. Scratch that. Scratch it. Next
Was the
conversation
joke
topic.
okay? Was the joke? You're so funny. When I can see you like trying to think of jokes, trying to be
Mhm.
witty.
Yeah, well, it
He's on his
was
phone, y'all. Like he sees something, he's like, "Oh, I gotta respond." And he's on his phone for the next like hour, like, "Oh, I gotta think of something witty for a tweet." And on the other hand, I'm like, he'll have to take the phone away from me because I'm like, "Oh, let me tweet something." He's like, "No,
no, it's
think
not
before
good.
you tweet."
So, America, you're convinced that if you were the Bachelorette and I was a contestant, you would pick me, right?
100%. a
You,
thousand
you're
percent.
sure?
I'm so sure, babe. Like you are so funny. Also, we've talked about me and Cory are watching. We haven't watched in a while. We need to catch up. I was talking to QT about
Hmm.
this last week as well. But the Love is Blind, if we were on Love is Blind together, I would 1,000% choose you. Like there's
Oh,
no shot.
for
Like you're my
sure.
number one. Am
I'd be
I
good at
your
Love is
number one
Blind.
though? You'd
Yeah.
be so good at Love is Blind. Like you're just so funny and witty and like so such a gentleman.
It's low key
I
a diss, though. And I know you don't mean it that way, but you'd be like,
no.
Corey, you're built for Love is Blind. You know what I mean?
Well, it's just talking. It's talking
I'm a
for like
talker.
2, 3 hours straight. I don't know how much time they have to talk during The Bachelor. Love Island, they live together. So you'd be good at Love Island as well. But it's like shows that like require a lot of like quality time together.
Yeah.
I think you'd be really good at that. And
Well,
I
you
think
know
I
what?
would pick you every single time.
So I'm glad you'd pick me. I'm glad you picked me for this podcast because again, this is a bit of inside baseball behind the scenes. Another option that you were considering was Pascal's daughter, who was like commenting on the season.
I'm glad it didn't work out because that would have been so awkward. Are you kidding
Yeah.
me?
Yeah. So I mean, you would have been grilling her. So who's the other woman?
Yeah.
Who is she? What'd she do to Pascal?
Yeah.
It's messed
I mean,
up.
everything happens for a reason, and I should have known, but I wasn't in
Yeah.
my detective mode at the time. I was like, "Oh, okay." Anyway,
I would say I think Edward would be a great bachelor.
no, he would not.
Why not?
He is so quiet. I was team Jacob growing up.
What?
Yeah.
I
Now as
thought
an
Jacob
adult,
gave restraining
now,
order vibes.
now as an adult, I'm team Edward, but
Yeah.
as a child, I was team Jacob.
Oh God, were you team Gail or PETA?
I didn't know Hunger Games like that, babe.
You've
Is that
watched the
worse?
movies?
I've watched and I'm definitely team PETA.
Okay, so that I mean PETA is the Edward.
Had a
I think
huge
Jacob's
crush
too
on Josh
aggressive.
Hutcherson too. We talked about this the other day, but I had a huge crush on Josh Hutcherson growing up, and
Yeah.
now it kind of makes sense. Like you're kind of like Josh Hutcherson vibes, same height. Like
Sure. I think I'm a little bit shorter. I will say, like, as much as you would pick me on The Bachelorette, I would not be picked for The Bachelorette. You
it
have to
doesn't
be a
matter.
certain amount of height to ride. Like, I think Jonathan was the short guy last season at like 5'9".
Yeah, mid-sized king, I think she called him.
Did she? That's crazy. Especially
Yeah,
when Jen is like 5'3" or
he's
something.
embraced it. He's embraced it. Good for him.
All right, sure. But no, I think Edward would be a great bachelor. He has like the boring vibe needed to be a bachelor. The dates would be super fun too. Oh my god.
We
Imagine you get to go on the baseball date. Oh my god.
yeah.
Be so good.
It'd be so good, so fun. What do you think about the next Bachelor, Grant?
I have no thoughts. Seems like a nice guy.
You said he's perfect for I mean, I think we didn't learn much about him during Jen's season, so I'm
No.
excited to see what the next season brings. Hopefully a lot of drama. I want to see the girls
He
the
seems
girls
like too good of a
fighting.
guy. You gotta like one day they're gonna have to make a gamble, and I understand that's
Look,
not what the audience wants. But give me a Sam M, Sam N. Just give me something.
yeah, that's not The Bachelor, babe. The Bachelor is about consistency, and
Yeah.
keeping yeah, it just keeps things the same and it works. And I'm here every single year eating it all up. And so will you. You have no
What?
idea. Like this is just the start of something new. You're now into Bachelor Nation. What shows have I shown you? Love
Well,
is
first of all,
Blind, Love Island.
let me say, this podcast has ruined Bachelor Mondays because we used to get like wine drunk, eating charcuterie, watching The Bachelor, America sitting there tweeting. Now she's in like one of those desks with the seat attached to the desk with her notepad open and like her laptop. And like, I'm sitting there like, America, America. She's to take out her AirPod. What? Like, Bachelor Mondays are dead. I need this podcast
It's
to end so we can get back to
it's
normal.
different because now he's like, babe, do you want some wine? I'm like, no, I'm working. I'm on the clock. You know, I can't do this while I'm drinking.
All of that to watch Guy. You know what I mean? It's so sad.
Yeah, maybe I didn't need to take notes this episode.
I
It was
look.
pretty
I saw you
straightforward.
taking notes because we watched this episode right before the actual podcast. I know you watched it last night as well. But I'm sitting there like, so how are we going to make 8 minutes out of the ATV?
We
Like,
did. We
we
did.
we talked about something. I don't know what this podcast was. Last question, America. Me as the Bachelor, am I good? Do I do a good job?
You do such a good job.
What
You do a
if
great job.
what if we're together?
Wait. You as
I'm
the Bachelor now, but you as the Bachelor a year ago would have been such a mess.
It
Like
would have been fun.
you're not confrontational at all, no eye contact, like no physical contact whatsoever. I think now, if we threw you in now, you'd be great.
So, America, you are someone who fell in love on TV. That's embarrassing.
That's
Did
so
you think when you were
embarrassing. That's
watching,
so
like,
cringy. I'm like, ew.
I've been dying for someone to ask us how we met. It's only happened one time, I think, ever, which is crazy because you feel like it would
And
be a
it's been
more
amazing.
normal. Well, you
But
know
we
why
don't
it
go
never
out
happens?
much because we don't
Yeah,
go out. We don't go
we
out
always go out
ever.
with friends if we go
Yeah,
out.
it happened once. We were on an
In an Uber,
Uber
maybe?
on the way to, on the way to steakhouse. What's it called? Outback Steakhouse. LOL, my fave.
Yeah.
And the Uber driver is like, "Oh, you guys a couple?" We're like, "Yeah." And he's like, "How did you meet?" And me and Cory took the deepest breath and we're like, "Yes,
It was awesome.
finally." It was
So,
so good.
as someone who's watched these love shows for so long, America,
Mhm.
is it how you envisioned it? When you're sitting there fantasizing, "Oh my god, I'm gonna be a bachelorette," or "I'm gonna go and find a showmance," or whatever, did it line up to your expectations?
You're gonna make me cry, babe. It was even better.
Aw,
Yeah.
babe.
Oh, I'm literally tearing up.
It's so funny. Oh,
Um,
because she has so much makeup on, so do I. This is sabotage.
I covered my face in concealer. You probably can't tell, but because I haven't tanned, but like literally covered myself in concealer, covered Cory in concealer. He was so mad. He kept scrunching up your face. And I was like, Cory,
Mhm.
no, relax, relax. Let me get your eyes.
See, and this was the
But
exact reason why we couldn't win Big Brother.
why?
Because
There was a lot of reasons.
the time where we're falling in love is the exact time the games are just collapsing in on themselves. They're like, "I remember it so fondly. I'm gonna cry."
Yeah, we're
I'm like, "I'm
falling
gonna
in love.
cry."
Everyone's talking shit in the next room. Like, we got to get America and Cory. We're losing Bowie as, we're,
Okay,
taking the
here's what I
next step.
ask. Give me the men tell all for Big Brother 25. Please.
What
I
do you
don't
mean?
want this BB26
Oh,
all people Q&A. I don't want this men
no.
tell all
I
Golden
want a
Bachelor.
BB25 reunion hosted by Jerry O'Connell.
Ooh, that's good.
Please.
Oh
We
my
we
god.
we need it. Can you
Yeah.
imagine?
Well,
That
I
would be
will say,
fun.
like, so obviously, I think
There
Joan
would
was.
still be so much beef, y'all. Like, I don't know what this
Oh yeah.
BB26 reunion's gonna be like. I will be tuning in. I'm excited. But yeah, the BB25 one
I don't think I'll be
would
tuning
also
in.
hit. No, you wouldn't show up.
BB26 live
Oh, to the
Q&A.
26.
What question do I have? Kenny,
You're
how's it
right.
going?
I'm not gonna tune in. I mean, I don't know when it is, but I don't care about what their favorite competition is. You know what I mean? Like,
So you've
talk
publicly
about
just
what
come out
happened when the
though.
feeds were off, or don't do a reunion at all.
So I'm curious, America. You've publicly come out recently against PDA.
Okay.
It's one of your
Honest-
strong stances. Now,
Okay.
Joan was saying that she didn't want to do anything in the fantasy suites, not for PDA reasons, but for, she doesn't want to be
Time
with
out.
like,
Time out. I
yeah,
didn't come out against PDA. Stop twisting my words. You're doing what everyone on Twitter does. I did not come out against PDA. That's not what happened.
Oh, wait, what did happen?
I love PDA.
Oh, that's good.
I love PDA, and that's fine.
Good.
Sometimes it could be cringy, and that's fine too. But cringe is still cringe. What I said. What was your question?
So my question, Joan seemed anti, not PDA, but anti being with like, two men, not at the same
Yeah,
time, but at the similar, you know what I mean? Sorry.
I think
I
she'd
don't know
be
how else to
against that.
phrase it.
I think she'd be against that too. Yeah, she doesn't. You want to be intimate. Doesn't want to have sex
So
with either man. Yeah.
she did keep with her rule because, as far as we understand, it was only one man.
What do you mean?
She was only with Chalk, so she's only intimate with one man at a time.
You know what? She did say, "I want to save that for the person that I'm gonna be with."
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, here's my question, America.
Do you think there's any shot that Chalk was lying?
Any chance that Chalk was lying?
Yeah,
Is he lying, or is he speaking in a weird way where
exaggerating
he had
or like
exaggerating? Yeah, they make out or
exaggerating. Like,
something.
yeah,
It's interesting.
they made out, and maybe they made out because they go in when they make out. Chalk and Joan.
Yeah.
Maybe they made out, and he got handsy, and he's just like,
Okay,
oh,
let's really get specific. So my question is, if Pascal didn't have his Pascal moment, does Pascal and Joan, in the words of my good friend Jared, get interactive? Do you
Jared.
think that door was only closed to Guy, or was it only open to Chalk?
I think only close to Guy. What do you
I think so
think?
too. I think so too. But also, I think like
We'll never know. I guess we'll never know.
Pascal is the great exception. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, for
I think
sure.
everybody would be down to be with
Y-
Pascal. Like, that doesn't
Yeah.
really not a testament to Joan.
It's just who Pascal is.
Yeah, merci.
What's so Edward Cullen, what do you have
Mm.
planned for the rest of Halloween?
Oh my god, 12 costume changes. America, we were having so much trouble thinking of a single costume, a single one. And then we landed on one. We're like, okay, perfect. 3 days before Halloween, she's like, all right, here's the 5 outfits you need to get. So this is outfit number 1. It's already like 4 p.m. basically, and I'm going to have to take, because this is shocking. This is makeup, by the way. This is not just how I look. So we're gonna have to take this down and then go into the next makeup, then the next one. One of them includes me wearing lingerie. So like I have to do sit-ups. I'm very stressed out about the rest of this day.
It's gonna be good though, babe. It's gonna be
Oh,
so much fun. When's the
that's good.
last time you did Halloween like this?
Like this?
Yeah.
Do you believe in past lives? Because in this life there was no it's so sad. America always does this where she's like, Corey, what's your favorite Italian place in Nashville? Corey, what do you usually what's going on in Nashville during Halloween? And my answer is, I don't know. I was just in my dorm playing video games. So it's Halloween and America's
Well,
like, all right, what are we doing? And I'm like, trick
Well,
or
here's the thing.
treating.
You're like, I love Nashville. Like
I
before I
love
moved
Nashville.
here, you're like, I love Nashville. I love the city, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I get here and I'm like, what do we do now? Where do you go out in Nashville? And he's like, the Munchie Mart in my
Yeah, it's our little like
Poke
campus store.
Bros
I
across
love Poke Bros.
campus.
Yeah,
I love Poke Bros too, but
yeah,
I just thought that was funny. I'm excited. We're gonna have a lot of fun tonight. Got
go
to start
crazy.
getting ready for all our costumes. One of my costumes does involve face paint, and it's pouring outside.
Yes.
So wish us luck.
Mm.
Thanks y'all for joining. Corey, where can people find you? You're gonna be out on the streets of Broadway tonight, but what's after that? What's next?
Yeah, you could find me everywhere. Twitter.com/Cory Wurtenberger. Subscribe to AmericaTellsAll.com. Wurtenberger Wednesdays if you want to watch live feed updates from last season. Patreon.com/Americory. America saying all types of controversial things that are getting us in trouble on Twitter there. So, everything I have to plug is the same things you plug. So it seems a little bit redundant.
Yeah, well, I usually don't plug anything because I'm
Oh,
just like, you know, just
well, in that case,
checked
A
out. Like
dog
I
nine
completely forget.
five six. on Instagram. Her secret Musically, America Lopez. If you want to find that. What's your
He's
Vine?
lying. Shut up. You're
Did you
so
have a
funny.
Vine?
No, I never had a
Oh
Vine. But
wow. Well, okay.
I did
What I did
watch
find,
Vines. Yeah.
what I did find is America apparently frequents Omegle. So if you want to see America, just in the wild chatting.
As a child, if y'all remember Omegle, that's what you would do after school in high school.
One
Isn't that
hour after this
insane?
podcast releases, we will be browsing Omegle in costume. So please, tell
Check
us
that
you came
out.
from America Tells All.
Maybe you'll get lucky. Yeah, because it's like a random, or used to do like chat roulette. It's like a random thing, and it just
Yeah.
random webcams. It's insane. Cannot believe I was ever doing that. But now I'm here on camera with my boo. Very exciting stuff happening. Very excited to see how they're gonna, have a 90 minutes of the Men Tell All next week.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, that is it, y'all. Just make sure to go subscribe at americatellsall.com. Yeah, see you next Thursday. Bye.
Bye-bye.